So we have to talk about Karen Attiah. I always forget how to say her name. Do you know the correct pronunciation?
I think it's Karen Attiah.
Karen Attiah. Thank goodness you're here, Eliana. So she posted on Substack, because where else? The Washington Post fired me, but my voice will not be silenced. Subheading, I spoke out against hatred.
You gotta show the art.
Yeah. I think we have it. I spoke out against hatred and violence in America, and it cost me my job. And the Substack post goes on and on about arguments from the progressive left she made in relation to like Charlie Kirk's position on race and all of that, and acts like she was fired for just disagreeing with Charlie Kirk. And there's just such a brief mention of what I can only imagine, Eliana, is the actual reason that her social media activity sent the Washington Post editors and management through the roof, which is F18, this post on Bluesky from a journalist, mind you, that takes a quote, "Black women do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot," and attributes it to Charlie Kirk. This was several days ago, when that is Charlie Kirk paraphrasing the mindset he said was problematic if you have affirmative action problems. That is not his reflection of his position at all, which as a journalist, she presented on a public forum as being Charlie Kirk's position. It was him paraphrasing the attitude that comes downstream of affirmative action, which he opposed because he thought that was a bad attitude. So are you crying for Karen tonight, Eliana?
Well, look, her whole argument is of a piece with many on the left trying to accuse the right of embracing cancel culture. Mm-hmm. And their attempt is to say that if you try to say that cheering political murder, is outside the bounds of polite society, that's the same as, canceling somebody for having garden variety political views. And it's like
apples to apples.
Supreme exercise in gaslighting. Now, what's amazing with the Karen Attiah thing is that Oliver Darcy over at his, I guess it's not a Substack, his newsletter, he's actually obtained the termination letter, which cites the Bluesky posts for which she was fired. And they say, your postings on Bluesky, which clearly identifies you as a post columnist about white men in response to the killing of Charlie Kirk, do not comply with our policy. And they cite her post, refusing to tear my clothes and smear ashes on my face in performative mourning for a white man that espoused violence is not the same as violence. And they cite other ones where she's, saying, I won't be sad that this white man died. Mm-hmm. And note that these violate their policies. And they demand that they tell her she's fired and demand that she remove any association with the Washington Post from her social media accounts.
Yeah, and by the way, I have to imagine also just like flagrantly quoting a man who was involved in one of the most high-profile political assassinations in modern history, flagrantly misquoting him on a published social media post, had to play into that as well. But Eliana, your point there is really interesting because, again, Siberium has done some of this reporting in the Free Beacon about how institutions have been jolted into recognizing that they should not have any quarter for abject racism, and they shouldn't be afraid to act when people are expressing abject racism just because of the threat that they might get on the wrong side of cancel culture. These institutions actually aren't afraid of that anymore. In the case of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos has his ambition to pour a bunch of money into the paper and make it a pro-American. And, this is not all the problems with the billionaire owner stuff aside. The point is about the institution having a very different position, even in the Bezos era, than it did just several years back about whether or not it's acceptable to tolerate this kind of conversation that is just sort of obviously racist on its face.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that, like, this is not cancel culture. Cancel culture was an attempt to inflict disproportionate punishment on people and to redefine norms of what's acceptable in, civilized or polite society. And comments like the ones that she made were really never acceptable. Cheering somebody's murder was never acceptable. And those are the sorts of things that we want to be outside the norms of civilized and polite society, that it's healthy for society to keep outside the norms. And so I think even referring to these sorts of things as cancel culture, is not quite right. And the sorts of things that she were saying actually bear on her ability to do her job as a journalist in this case. So
how dare you?
Good riddance.
Recently, I learned about colostrum. Have you heard about colostrum? I always want to do a Trump impression when I'm talking about, known as liquid gold that babies receive from their mothers after birth. It's packed with proteins, natural growth factors, antimicrobial peptides that work to enhance your immune response, reduce inflammation, repair and balance gut lining, reduce bloating, and make your hair and skin look amazing. Today's sponsor, Cowboy Colostrum, offers the highest quality cow colostrum. Highest quality cow colostrum available in the U.S., 100% made in America from 100% American grass-fed cows. They're the best cows, folks. They don't overprocess or strip their colostrum, leaving it whole, full fat, and high protein for ultimate nutrient density. It is the highest quality bovine colostrum you can buy, and it's easy to drink, made with delicious natural ingredients and no artificial flavors. It really is easy to drink. Simply add a 3 gram scoop of either the chocolate, Madagascar vanilla, or strawberry in your coffee or smoothie, or actually even in milk. It's really tasty. For a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/afterparty and use code AFTERPARTY at checkout. That's 25% off when you use code AFTERPARTY at cowboycolostrum.com/afterparty. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Say, I came from Afterparty for the best cows.